Hey guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house Sunday morning. Yeah, not the earliest Sunday morning podcast I've done. I've done it at 8 o'clock in the morning before now, and that was difficult. But it's 11 o'clock today, so it's a great time. We're over to a wonderful part of the world today. We're off to Swinton. Now, and a wonderful poet now. We've got the fantastic Lynn Walton with us. Now, Lynn, how long have I known you for? It's been a few years, hasn't it?
It's been a few years. It's I think I sort of knew you by sight originally, obviously at other events in the area, in the Manchester area. And then I sort of connected you with Amanda. I thought, they're kind of together, So
yeah, I think people tend to start twigging them basically. They start seeing warp sense of humour 1 and warp sense of humour 2. You just tend to make the different connections. So. Yeah, no, okay. Really have to talk about yourself, obviously. So tell us about where your creativity came from then and what led you down the path you're on now. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, so my earliest writing, and I've still got these stashed away somewhere. I had a poem published in the Manchester Evening News when I was about 10. So that was like my first published piece.
Oh, wow.
And then I think my first performance piece was at primary as well. Probably, I was probably about similar age. And both of them are a little bit, one was about a mermaid and one was about a girl being executed. So I've always had this weird angle on things, I thought, yes, it was coming way back then, so then I wrote a bit in my teens as well, but nothing that I've ever kept or anything. And then a friend of mine asked me to join. She was going to a writing group in Manchester, and she said, "Oh, why don't you come along?" So I went along, and I found I enjoyed it, and I was okay at using words. I thought, I can quite get on with doing this, and then. So yeah, I just wrote sort of what you call page poetry then, and I've kept little remnants of some of that stuff, very early stuff, but I don't often throw stuff away, whatever, because I think sometimes there's just a phrase or just an idea that you can work on. And then I started doing the performance when I sort of finally got over the nerves. I think once you've done it and you realise you're not going to get booed off the stage or whatever.
It's not that kind of community, yeah. I agree with you completely.
Not at all. No, it's a lovely community and very, very welcoming. So I thought, well, yes, I can do this. So, I've never really looked back since I did my first performance, which was an event that it doesn't run anymore. It was called Evidently.
Oh, did you start there, did you? I didn't know that, right?
There at the Eagle with Kieran King ran it. Yeah, that was where I started and did my first ones, and then I used to go to that every month. That was kind of my main one. And I found the more you do of those, the more you need to keep writing, because you need to think, oh, I need something for next month. It's like a homework that you give yourself in a way, and it just to keep writing something new. And then since I retired, I can go out on a school night, and so I've done more and more, and and I've had more time to write as well. So.
Oh no, fair play to you with that one. So it's similar to me, because I started a few years before that a night called Freed Up that was run by Steve O'Connor and Dominic Berry, really. And I think you find, don't you, like the bug bites you after a while, doesn't it?
Yes.
So
yeah.
And then it's, even though I don't get as much time as I would have done, certainly if you're going to nights nowadays. But yeah, it's always something that it never lets you go, I don't think.
No, and then you see another one event somewhere and you think, oh, well, I'll try that one, because all my material's new to that place, so you can kind of start off with stuff again. And and then you find you meet up with people, don't you, from, they go to that, and I've seen them at that, and it's all interconnects. But like you say, a lovely community, really, really nice people.
You do, and it's most definitely with it. You find I think it changes your life in some ways, because you start making lots of additional friends that you perhaps wouldn't have met through other means. Yeah, so it's interesting, really. Yeah, I agree with you completely. Now, you've hinted at already about your work, and I think I like the fact with you, Lynn, like is you work, you never know what you're quite going to get next. And I love that. It's something that I think applies well to Amanda and probably me to a degree as well, where your work's never standing still. So have you explained to us about your work then? Because obviously, and how it's changed since you started doing the open mics.
Yeah, it's probably been a gradual change. You know, like when you're doing something, you think, oh, it's always been like this, but it really hasn't. I found I've gone more and more towards humor rather than serious. And I find now I do write some very serious stuff, but my natural inclination, I can maybe hold it for so long and then I just have to put something in. I can't always maintain it. And then, you know, I've gone on to some quite risque stuff as well, which again, that's led to, you know, there's places where you can do that sort of thing. And I've got to know that it's safe, if you like, to do some of the stuff.
No, that's the point, because you're not going to do the piece today, I don't think, anyway, because it's out of season. But you got me on that night at Speakeasy fairly recently. When you went, do you remember what you asked me on the email you inquired over? I tell people, well, you asked me, is it okay if I do a poem that's got a swear word in it? And I said, yeah, I'm not bothered. And then next week, every line's got that swear word in. So yeah, it's the unpredictability, and I love that sort of thing, really. Anyway, so.
Yeah, it is. It's I do worry about that. It's one of the things that, you know, if I've got one or two edgy ones, I've always got some with me that I can swap in and out. If I look round and I think this is not going to go down well here, you know, that I can change it, you know. But I've done a few events locally with some local poets. There's quite a few little bars popped up in Swinton, and
I've heard actually about that. Yeah,
it's getting a bit not quite Chorlton, but you know, that sort of idea. And there's tables outside in the summer, and so and we did one in particular, and it was just full of women with bottles of wine on the table. And you know, I thought, right, I'm okay here, you know, I can do all my edgy stuff. And they were really up for it, you know, and it was good. It's quite liberating, because I think, oh yes, I'm safe here. So that was a nice one. But yeah, I do have to look around and think, where am I going and what should I do? Because I've got that range, you know, I've got the very serious, I've got the humorous, safe, and then I've got the other extreme of not so safe. You know,
yeah,
you know what I mean, a bit more edgy and a bit.
No, same for me as well. I think you do, when you get your space, you have a bit more experience in your work. It's like it varies. You don't know from audience to audience, you don't know the night, indeed. So yeah. Now, obviously, I know as well. You've been at Salford City Radio, haven't you? A little bit as well. I can see as well. So tell us about your experience on the radio.
That was great. I was very nervous when I first did it. So I do kind of two. I've got a friend, Rob Dunford. He has his own show on Salford City Radio. So I've been going on there quite regular. Well, I've done two now, and I think he'd like me to go on again. And then there's a few of us do a night, which has been in Eccles, but it's now moved to Monton.
Oh, nice.
And Ian Rothwell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy called Ian Rothwell who does a show on Salford Radio, and he usually has about four of us in. So two of them do music, and myself and Rob do spoken word. So that's about every couple of months or so. So that's a bit of a challenge, because I've got to be a bit careful. They both go out live. So, you know, I've got to either cross lines out or change words or just be careful what I'm doing. But I really enjoy doing both of those. It's a really nice thing to do, and both of the presenters, Rob and Ian, you know, they make everybody feel so at ease that you know, like this, you just feel as though you're having a chat with somebody, and you forget that it's going out to the wider world, you know. But
no, indeed, I agree, because I'll put you in contact. I don't know if do you know Amanda's mate Ruth O'Reilly?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
She's
No,
on
I'm
All
sure.
FM. I'll put you in contact with her, okay? Because she
Okay.
did. I'll talk more off mic in that one, anyways. Hi, Ruth. So that's all I'm going to say there. But yeah, now I want to talk to you on to next about you've done three. What should we call them, collections or chapbooks?
Yeah, I don't know what they are. They collect. I call them booklets, but they're like pamphlets, or they're little. But the reason that came about was so the guy who published them is a guy called Martin Gittins, and he has a Bedford Falls press. And I was on a Zoom with him, must have been in lockdown, and he kept this. He runs like it's not quite an open mic night, but one of these nights where you go around the room and everybody who wants to perform just kind of does something. And we were on Zoom, and he just said to me, "Have you ever thought of publishing?" And I said, Not really seriously, no." But he just said, "Talk to me." So I thought, right, I'm going to talk to him. So yes, we met up in person, and I said, "I've got these in my head, 3 distinct categories." So he said, "Well, you could do them as 3 distinct booklets, and then if people want a particular, if they're going to be offended by the ruder stuff, they can have the serious one." So that's how it came to be the 3 little booklets.
Brilliant. Before I tell people what the 3 little booklets are, and then next we'll talk a little bit about them. I think they're all brilliant, these anyway, because it's what I love about them. Looking on your website is the fact is they actually look like the diagrams are all different in each one, but there's a uniformity between the 3 of them. I think it's great. So tell us first of all about my favourite title as well, then. Poems from the Naughty Step.
Oh, Poems from the Naughty Step. So this is Poems from the Naughty Step.
Yeah, if you're on the video now, you can see Lynn showing the booklet up here. It's big when I realised it was actually that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine who's a fabulous artist, Sue Vaughan. I asked her if she would illustrate them, because I said I don't want any, huge detailed pictures. I said I just wanted like little sketches almost for the poems. So she went through them, and so this is obviously my collection of the more risque ones. A friend of mine came up with the title, friend Maureen. She said, "I know what you can call that," she said. So
it's a great title, yeah. It does it.
And yeah, I love the picture of the girl that she's got on the front, so yeah, that's the sort of slightly more risque, edgy ones in that one. Yeah, not much more to say. Yes, I had to choose all my colours for the front covers,
Yeah.
And
now, what made you want to do a collection in the name of Bar and a Bra? Because that's the next one on the 3 of them. Yeah. Again, video exclusive. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, this was, well, because there's a poem in it. This has come from one of my poems, because I had this weird invention in my head of, and this is how I introduced the poem, that, when you want to go into a venue somewhere and you can't take your own drink, and, way back you used to try and smuggle it in somewhere, but, they search you quite thoroughly now, don't you? So I thought, well, if I had this bra full of all these drinks and mixers and cocktails and a straw, I could have my drinks to hand, sort of thing. So that was the invention in my head. And then I thought, that's quite a nice title for the book, because it's a humorous, that's my sort of humorous one. And I thought it sort of, to me anyway, it suggests that playful idea, So yeah, that was where Bar in a Bra got its name from.
It's a great title. Now, okay, the more serious one, like the 3 of them, obviously, is your last one, Northern Goddess.
Yes.
Now, yeah, again, more at video exclusive. So look at this. If people didn't know better, we've convinced we planned this before, definitely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell us about Northern Goddess then. I know that's your more serious stuff, isn't it? Touching on interesting myths and stuff, isn't it? So
yeah, it's yeah, and the picture that Sue did, I said, I just want this woman, because this again is from a poem in this book called Brigantia, who was a sort of Celtic goddess that was quite worshipped in the north of England. I said, I want this woman to look a bit northern, with a shawl and clogs and a cup of tea, So the poems, you know, it's about a goddess who's a bit fed up of being a goddess. You know, she's cold and she just wants to be normal. But yeah, it's that's got the slightly more. Yeah, they are quite serious, some of those, because there is a place in my writing. Like I said, I do some serious stuff, but quite often I need a bit of a prompt or a push to do something more serious, and I don't perform them that often as well. If I'm going somewhere or doing something, they tend to get sidelined a bit, unless it's a very, very quiet venue or, you know, a small intimate venue. I'll perhaps bring them out, but no, they do get overlooked a bit, those.
I think they do sometimes when you. Because I think I've heard you do a few of those pieces, that sort of line of things before, definitely at Word Central and one or two other places. Yeah, like I think there's always a place for everything like that. Because I've got more serious pieces myself, and you know sometimes it's time to bring them out, or times not to. Like I said before, but just by judging your audience in moments sometimes. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think the fantastic pieces, the ones I've heard straight away. So, where did your interest in myths and stuff come from then? That's always been there since you were growing up, is it more?
Yeah, I think really it started probably rooted a lot in fairy tales, because I've got one or two well, probably more than one or two, where I do a different take on fairy tales. And I just find them, you kind of got the stories or the characters ready-made, and then you can, and also people know them. So if you start to sort of vary it a bit, it's usually people get what you're saying, or what's the difference between the original and what you're doing with that story. So I find them, yeah, the same with sort of the myths and things. I just find them, there's something I'm interested in. And I like to play around with them. So yeah, I think I could probably revert to those sources of inspiration quite a lot, but I try not to. But you know, you don't want to be using the same themes over and over. But yeah, I find anything like that personally absolutely fascinating, you know.
Yeah, same for me as well, because I've always had interest in myths and stuff, and I'll talk to you about off mic and that in a bit, definitely. So yeah, no, I agree completely. Now, looking forward, I know you've been hinting to me off camera before that you've got you're thinking about other more, at least one more collection, aren't you?
I am, yes. I think I might do, you know, more of a book, you know, a proper book, if you know what I mean, a thicker one with a, you know, because these three are quite flimsy bindings, but and then I thought maybe just divide it into sections, you know, and it doesn't have to be, you know, I've sort of had a brief word with Martin, who publishes them, and he said, well, you can have as many sections as you want, you know, as I want. I tend to think of myself in these three categories. So if I was doing that, I'd probably bunch them together maybe into three sections of a book. And then again, try and get a title, maybe from a line from a poem or one of the characters in the poem. Because I think since I've published these, you know, I sometimes go to places and somebody will say, oh, I like such and such a poem, which book is it in? And I have to say, I'm sorry, it's not in any of these books, you know, because I've done all this new stuff since. So I thought, well, I really need to pull that together now. You know, quite often I just give them the poem. I say, oh, just have it if you like this one, and I can print another one off. But ideally, it would be nice to say, oh, this is the book you need to buy, you know.
Yeah, no, I think great. It's a great idea. No, good luck definitely with that. So, right, before we do the hard sell then, obviously, and tell people where they can find more about you. Have you got any future plans laid up for your creativity otherwise at the moment? Any readings coming up maybe?
I'm just trying to think. I've had yeah, well, I've got a couple of local ones. I've just done on, this is not a sell or anything, but on Friday I did the cultural cabaret, you know, up
Oh
at
yeah, Dave, is that Dave Morgan's night, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Ah, brilliant.
And
Yeah.
that was lovely. I was really thrilled to be asked, and Joy France was on as well.
Big fan of Joy. Love Joy.
Oh, sharing a stage with Joy France. I've made it now. Yeah, it was a lovely night. Yeah, so I think it's just kind of local events I've got at the moment. in Swinton area. Yeah, I think it is. We go to at the White Lion in Swinton. We do, or they have a folk club, and once a month they have a guest. So I've been asked to do the guest night there at the beginning of March, on the 8th of March. So that'll be quite nice, because it gives me quite a longer slot to do more stuff. There'll be a bit of music in between, because I think it's quite a lot. It's different when you've got a musical person singing and everybody can join in or pick up a chorus. I think it's a lot to throw words at people for huge lengths of time, so that it'll be interspersed. But I thought, yeah, I might bring one or two of my serious ones into something like that, because that will be a fairly intimate venue. And I thought, I don't need to do all this humour totally. I'll bring out the quiet ones a little bit as well.
Yeah, good luck definitely with that. So fingers crossed soon. Okay, where can people get hold of your booklets?
Could you say that again, Andy?
Yeah, sorry, I thought that might cut then. Where can people get hold of your booklets?
Right, well, I've got number one, I carry them around with me. I'm like an absolute diva, you know. There's always a set in my bag, you know, that's with, you know, I say, of course, yes, I just happen to have. And they can order them on my website, which is lynnwaltonpoet.co.uk, I think.
I'll just confirm it. I'm on it in a minute.
Yes.
Lynn Walton Poet, yes, .co.uk. Yeah, they're on there, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, they can be ordered through there, or I think, you know, or I'm on Facebook and Instagram, so anybody could message me on those to get them.
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So sounds good to me. Yeah, definitely. So right, we'll wrap up part one. I'm conscious of the time for you today, because for a few reasons we're not going to go into on here, but we'll take a quick break up and hang around, because Lynn's fantastic to listen to, and it's going to be a case of I don't know what she's going to do next, so she's going to completely surprise me, and that's always good. See you all. 2 minutes.